Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Timothy.
I'm Chris.
Today, we are going to offer you a comparison of the business culture in Japan and Taiwan. I am going to talk about the differences in overwork conditions and organizational structures.
And I'll brief you on the topics of business responsibility and the different situations of female employees in Taiwanese and Japanese companies.
I will present you with the typical working day in Tokyo and its unique drinking culture.
So today, I have two topics. First, business responsibility, and second, female employees. First, responsibility. In Japan, business leaders would often resign to take early responsibility for loss of the company, but in Taiwan, it's often the other way around. There are two main reasons to this major difference. First, shareholder structure, and second, business leaders' mentality. So in Japan, business leaders would often resign to take responsibility for loss of the company because most of the shareholders are external to the company. For example, financial institutions with 39% shareholding ratio and overseas investors with 33%. So business leaders in Japan would have to resign to show their responsibility to the external shareholders. And also, Japanese usually care more about a company's social image rather than simply benefits. And that's why, for them, they will consider resigning a good way to show that they are willing to take responsibility for loss of the company or for the wrong decision making. While in Taiwan, on the other hand, if there's a negative incident that causes loss in the benefits of a company or damages a company's social image, business leaders would often manage to drag on until the social pressure is so heavy that they are forced to resign. That is to say, business leaders in Taiwan often consider resignation as the last resort of taking responsibility. Another major factor to this major difference between Taiwanese and Japanese businesses is the shareholder structure. In Taiwan, most shareholders of most companies are internal to the companies. The most obvious example would be Mr. Guo Taiming, also known as Terry Guo, who personally owns 12.28% of the shares of his company, Honghai. So obviously, if a negative incident occurs that causes loss of his company, it would be very unnecessary for him to the shareholders because he himself is the biggest shareholder of the company. My second topic is about female employees in Taiwanese and Japanese businesses. In Japan, female employees are generally still under discrimination due to its rather conservative business culture. For example, if a company goes out dining together, female employees and male employees would have to sit at separate tables, and female employees are even expected to pour tea and serve male employees, which would be considered very awkward in Taiwanese society. Also, glass ceiling still exists in Japanese society. That is, even with the equal or excelling qualifications compared to male employees, female employees are still prevented from the corporate ladder. While in Taiwan, on the other hand, females are also bounded by the invisible glass ceiling, but to a relatively less degree. For example, Mrs. Shi Wang Xuehong, as chairwoman of HTC, and Mrs. Guo Song Wenqi, as chairwoman of 101 Building. So these are vivid examples of the fact that females and males are viewed more equally in Taiwanese society.
Today I'm going to start with Today I'm going to start with overworking conditions. Overwork is common in both Taiwan and Japanese companies. However, Taiwanese employees work longer than Japanese employees, but they don't receive overtime pay. Japanese companies offer overtime pay and also extra subsidies to employees. Most Japanese companies offer transportation fees to their employees, which is actually given that transportation costs are 3 times more than Taiwan transportation costs. In contrast, Taiwanese employees don't provide overtime pay. It is true that there are regulations on the issues of overtime pay in Taiwan, But Taiwan's employers don't follow the rules because the penalties are too light. Companies would rather risk being fined rather than offer overtime pay. Next, I'm going to talk about organizational structures. Collectivism is dominated in Japanese companies. Employees focus on group success rather than personal achievements. In contrast, individualism dominates Taiwanese companies. Employees in Taiwan focus more on personal achievements rather than the whole success of the company. Matsushita is known as the god of management. The seven spirits of Matsushita is still widely used in many companies in Japan. Teamwork and unity is two of the spirits that are highlighted in the seven spirits of Matsushita. It shows that unity and teamwork are the values that most Japanese companies emphasize on. Lifetime employment is used in most Japanese companies nowadays. Employees are expected to show loyalty to the companies. The act of loyalty is for the exchange of some degree of job security and benefits. Personal development is more emphasized in Taiwanese companies. In Japan, staying in the same company is an act of loyalty, while in Taiwan, it is not an act of betrayal if you change companies. Business hierarchy is a unique characteristic in Japanese companies. In the famous Japanese drama Hanawa Zaoki, we can see that in a typical Japanese company, employees obey while managers give commands. In contrast, Morris Zhang, the founder and CEO of TSMC, states that the relationship of superiors and subordinates is not only about managing, obeying, and commanding. It's about teaching and learning. Therefore, he says that waiting for the boss's decision before every action is bringing trouble on yourself. It means that it is unnecessary for employees to always wait for the decisions and commands of their superiors.
In this part, we take a glance at Japanese business culture through their daily life. Taipei and Tokyo are two busiest cities in Asia, yet we have slightly different business culture. While both cities start working from 9 in the morning, Tokyo has a longer night stand in average until 9 in the evening, and 6 in Taipei instead. Starting from morning, Tokyo has already occupied with people. A pusher is a worker who pushes people onto a train at a railway station during morning and evening rush hours. And here's a clip, we can see how it works. This is a unique scene, and from this clip we can see that the peak hours in Taiwan are dramatically busier than Taipei. After an exhausting day, Tokyo has its very own drinking culture. Boozing is a nightly ritual for Tokyo workers and salarymen, and it's a phenomenon associated with non-violence and desperation, but with fun and liberation. And here's the clip we can look at.
We're in Shimbashi, it's Thursday night, it's only around 9 o'clock, and already the streets are pretty much teeming with smashed businessmen. We're going to chat to some of them now. Have you been drinking tonight, sir?
Yeah!
Do you like to be drunk?
Yeah!
Okay. The reason for this phenomenon is that Japanese people tend to be serious at work as it is a formal environment, and boozing makes them forget today's problem and give them the energy for tomorrow. The concept of drinking that booze cancels out the problems and stress. Around the midnight, the street begins to empty and the tent fills up. Capsule Hotel is the place most drunk salarymen end up. And we can see from the pictures that each capsule has its own TV and mirror. It's well equipped and very private.
Today we have made a very clear comparison of business culture in Taiwan and Japan from various aspects. Responsibility, female employees in Taiwanese and Japanese companies, overworking conditions, organizational structure, a typical working day, and a unique drinking culture in Japan. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it.